You know the vibes. Welcome back to another episode of the Hoop Genius podcast brought to you by NBA 2K25. It is myself, Mooncey, alongside me as always, three-time NBA champion, Mr. BJ Armstrong. What's good,
Oh,
brother?
Mo, it's incredible. It's incredible. I was just listening to the RZA this morning, and you know what, Mo? I can't think of a better way to wake up listening to the RZA just give me 16, and here I am, and then now I'm right here with the Hoop Genius. I'm with our family. It's Friday. I can't think of anything, but I can't think of any other place to be that could be better than this. So
I'm
it's
loving the
great.
positive energy. I'm loving the positive
Oh
energy. And you
nice.
know what? We're supposed to answer questions from our listeners today. But you know,
Please.
I got a question, a comment on a episode yesterday.
Okay.
And do you want to know what this guy said to me?
What do you say? What do you say?
I was saying, let me find it. He says, Mooncey. He wrote my whole name. He goes, Mooncey, you come across as a hater and a negative Nancy. Huge turn off as a fan of basketball. Hope you see this and change your approach. Will help your subscriptions. Well, Paul Malcolm 8445. Thank you for your concern. I fear that he just tuned into the one episode about Paul George and doesn't realize this has been a joke that's been going on for about 5 years. But I wanted to start with some positivity today because I
Okay.
shared something in the Discord. I shared something with the people in the Discord yesterday. I was watching basketball last night, and I said I'm going to put this in the Discord. I don't want to tweet this because now when you can't tweet bad things because people call you a hater, and you can't tweet good things because now the kids say you're glazing.
What's
They
that
say
mean?
you're glazing. I don't really know what it means, but they say you're glazing when you say something too good. But I said this to the Discord. I said, do you ever just sit there and think that I could have been born in any time in human history? I could have been with the pyramids being built. I could have been in ancient Greece. I could have been a Roman. But instead, I am born in a time where I get to watch Stephen Curry do Stephen Curry things in 4K on my TV. Well, not 4K because League Pass doesn't support that yet. But I get to watch some of the most outrageous basketball performances the world will ever see. And I can go on YouTube and watch any player from the history of the NBA. How lucky am I that I get to sit there and watch what Steph Curry did last night? Did you see that game?
Yeah, I saw it, Mo. I saw it. I saw it.
You don't sound impressed.
Am I supposed to be? I mean,
Come on, come on, come on.
I mean, just tell me what am I supposed to do? I mean, we've been seeing this for so long now. I don't take it for granted. However, I mean, Mo, this is the NBA. Like, don't we all know,
We know, but it doesn't get
yeah,
old. 56 points, 12 3-pointers, 12 of 12 from the free throw line. Steph Curry was lights out against, I think, the best ranked defense, or one of the best ranked defense in the Eastern Conference. KCP had a nightmare last night trying to stay with Steph. I mean, he scored 0 points himself and just got absolutely torched by Stephen Curry on the other end of the floor. Out of every player in NBA history, since 1996-97, Stephen Curry has the most 20-point quarters in regular season games with 42 of them. He is just absolutely electric. The way he can just change a game in a short span with a 20-point quarter is ridiculous. The most games with more than 9 3-pointers made in NBA history, Steph Curry stands alone at 45. The next person on that list, Damian Lillard, with 14. That just shows you the golfing class between Steph Curry and every other shooter in this era right now. You know, like I know people are mad at the 3-point shooting, but when Steph's doing that, I can't be mad at it. No one can be mad at it. Steph is just unbelievable, and he's doing this all at 36 years old. And I feel like we're in a weird time now where Steph's 36, LeBron's 40, and people are getting used to this kind of production. And that's why I was talking about Paul George yesterday. They're going to be paying him 60 million when he's 37. This is not normal production that Steph and LeBron give us at these ages. Steph Curry is just a joy to watch, you know. And yesterday was like the yearly anniversary of that game. Do you remember the regular season game versus OKC where he pulled up damn near half court and hit that huge shot? Do you remember that one? And I was thinking about this. That one, because people are like, oh, the regular season doesn't matter. Should I tell you why the regular season matters from a fan perspective?
yes.
That one game, that Warriors OKC game, I remember exactly where I was. We went out to the club. We come back from the club now. Game tips off at 3. we come in and catch in the second half. I'm with a bunch of guys who are all just football fans, soccer fans. I put that game on. We're having a little after party at the house. Put that game on. That one second half of that game transformed 20 football fans into 20 basketball fans. And that's the impact of one regular season game when guys take the regular season seriously and Stephen Curry's greatness on full display. That one game added 20 new fans, and now it's been like 10 years, and these guys still love the NBA.
Oh, okay. All
That's
right.
the impact of a
We
regular
love
season
it.
game
We
in February. There's something about February 27th that Stephen Curry just always has. Every year he has an electric performance on February 27th. It's insane. He had 50. LeBron at age 40 had 33, 17, and 6. And just the NBA is just great. I know like a lot of the discourse is negative. Zion had a triple double. Jokic had another triple double. It just the NBA is just it can be really fun to watch sometimes. When guys have it going like that, it can be really fun. Did you share in that experience last night, BJ? How did you feel watching the games?
Yeah, it was terrific. I love it. I mean, there's a shooting display. You play in a game and you're able to get up what 18, 19, 23s in a game. I mean, that's an incredible thing, the way the game is played. Um, so I love it. I love watching the game. The Lakers seem to be finding their rhythm. You just mentioned, about Golden State. And, those are great. And you're going to have nights like that where you shoot the ball exceptionally well. And, last night we saw the Bucks beat Denver.
Hmm.
So, this is why you play. And I think, as you're watching the game, you get a chance from time to time to see exceptional shooting displays. And that's what you saw last night. And you can't have it that way all the time, but when you finally see it, it just reminds you of how good these guys really are. As far as some of the talents that they have, and certainly when you talk about shooting, you have to mention Steph Curry, regardless of any era. And it was great to see, and we'll continue to get to the playoffs, Mo, because right now it's about those playoff seedings. So,
Absolutely is. Well, the Warriors, I just want to talk about them a little bit. We've talked a little bit about the impact Jimmy Butler's having on our team. Since he's come over, for the first 51 games, the Warriors were dead last in free throws made per game. They're now up to fourth in the NBA. And I think a lot of people at the start of the season were questioning Steph Curry. This is why I was so happy with his performance last night. A lot of people were saying, this Steph Curry thing's over, so on and so forth. All it took was them to get a second player who demands attention whilst on the court with Stephen Curry to open the game up a tiny bit more for him, and he can go back to being himself and doing what he's doing. I think he's averaging like 30 since Jimmy Butler got traded over there. And now the bench units aren't collapsing when Steph Curry goes to the bench either. So, that trade seems to have been working out very well. My question for you is, how far do you think this Warriors team can go? Is the way that they've been playing over the last 7 games sustainable for the rest of the season and the playoffs? Or where are you ranking them right now in the West?
when you take a sample size, right, a 6 or 7 game sample size, remember, Mo, they're going to be playing against the best teams in their conference, okay? And if they are able to get into the playoffs, okay, currently right now,
Seventh
you
seed.
know, yeah, they'll get in the 7 seeds. I mean, they'll play, the
They'll be in
Memphis
the play-in.
Grizzlies. Yeah, they'll be in the play-in, and they'll play, if
If,
they're fortunate enough to advance, they'll play the Memphis Grizzlies or
see, I think the Warriors would beat the Grizzlies.
okay, that's fine. We can get to that. However, you know, when we start talking about a 7 game series, and when you start looking at the Warriors team, I think the Warriors are capable of winning, especially when you have a player like Stephen Curry, because he's capable of having a night like you saw last night. Okay. Jimmy Butler is capable of having a 30-point game. If Kaminga comes back, he's a capable 20-point scorer. Okay. 30-point scorer in the right game. However, now you're talking about winning 4 out of 7. You're talking about attacking the team in a way that you're going to exploit the other team's weakness. You're going to exploit your strengths. And remember, there's a reason that OKC, Memphis, Denver, the Houston Rockets were there. I don't know where they currently stand. So you're talking about playing against the best teams in the conference. Now, that's a different story. I'm not sure how this is going to work. You know, Mo, I'm not sure. I'm not sold. And I say I'm not sold because I haven't seen it yet. I
Mhm.
acknowledge Jimmy Butler. First step of the process, Mo, you've heard me say it now for years. Win the games you're supposed to win. That's the first step.
Yeah.
Now, are we truly expecting them to go in there and start beating OKC on the road like years past for the Golden State Warriors? The answer is no. Are you expecting them to be a team that's going to dominate versus, the Denver Nuggets? No, I'm not. I'm not right now, but I like where they're trending. I think Jimmy Butler has added a dimension to this team they haven't had. They play with a little bit more physicality. They've clearly committed now to Draymond Green being a five man. Okay. Jimmy Butler gives them two things. He gives them another added ball handler so that Steph Curry can be, I mean, let's call it what it is. He's a combo guard.
Yeah. And even like last night, Jimmy was 1 from
Okay.
7 from the field, but he still
So
commands the respect of the defense.
yeah, so what Jimmy Butler has done is added a ball handler so that Steph Curry can be this version of Steph Curry, which we all talk about, which is his ability to shoot the ball. When Steph Curry is forced to play the lead guard position, right? And you've heard me say this now for years, right? And then when it happens, everyone's like, oh, Steph Curry. No, Steph Curry is he's a combo guard of some sort. And when you put another ball handler like a Jimmy Butler, so what Jimmy Butler has really done is Draymond Green has been the primary ball handler for the Warriors for years. But then when you would add Andre Iguodala, you would add other ball handlers in there to help facilitate Steph Curry's ability to do what he does exceptionally well, which is shoot the basketball. And that's what Jimmy Butler has done. Okay, I don't even think Jimmy Butler scored double figures last night.
No,
Okay,
he had
I
five
don't know.
points.
Okay, so when you see this, we've seen this movie before. Jimmy Butler has added to that now. So now this is a sample size of what they can be. Now, the one thing we can't depend on is for Steph Curry to score 50 points every
Mm.
night. Okay, so let's not get too far ahead. Is he capable of a game or two in a series? Yes, we've seen him do this before. However, do I think this is an indicator of this team all of a sudden jumping into the elite category in the Western Conference? No, I don't think so. But let's see, because they certainly have, at a minimum, three very experienced players.
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, this
And
5 game win streak, they beat the Rockets, they beat the Kings, they beat the Mavericks, they beat the Hornets, and then they beat the Magic. So the next real test for them is on Tuesday night against the Knicks. And then Saturday night against your Detroit Pistons. Not this Saturday, next Saturday.
yeah, well, like I said, I'm interested to see. I like the way they are trending. They have changed the course of their season. There's optimism now in the air. And suddenly now what this trade has done has allowed their best player to be the best version of himself. Okay, check and check for that. Now, how
Hmm.
good can they go? Let's see, because we can only evaluate what they look like versus the better teams. And it's funny to hear you say, I'm waiting for the Detroit Piston game to
That's
find
insane.
out.
That's insane.
Okay,
That's insane.
that to me is an indicator of where this team is going to be. It's one of those indicators. I don't know about the Knicks situation because of the way the Knicks have been playing versus the top level teams in the league.
Mm.
But the Detroit Pistons will have my interest. And then I'll be able to say, oh, okay, this is what this team can do because, the Pistons are young, they're athletic, they're deep, and, they defend a little bit. So that will be a game that I'll be watching closely to see, how they respond. And then, we can give our observation of what happens during that game.
Absolutely. Well, the Lakers are making their way up. They're the fourth seed now, and they've won four straight. They picked up wins over the Timberwolves, the Mavericks, the Nuggets. So they've been, tested by some of the good teams in the Western Conference. Their game last night, just Luka Doncic continues to be Luka Doncic. I don't know why that was ever in question. He finished with 21, 13, and 5 assists, but some of the passes he was throwing last night, man, it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. And what I really like about it is they've got him I don't know if JJ Redick's listened to one of the 4,000 rants you had on his show about Luka Doncic, but they've got Luka operating out of the post a little bit, you know,
Mo,
at long last.
you know what? You
At
know what,
long
Mo?
last, who would have
No, I'm
thought?
going to say this because Mo, I'm going to be consistent. I don't do this. You always make fun of me for not being on social media. I don't do this for that. I do this because Mo, this is what it is, and I always hear it's old school. No, it's not. This is just what it is. And when you watch the game and you have great players, you must utilize those players to their strengths, right? Not to some spreadsheet. This is not hard to figure out, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. It may be hard if you're a casual observer of the game. I respect that. But if you are participating in the NBA and you're not utilizing the strength of some of these players, then you have to question, are you really watching the game? So let's give a shout out to JJ Redick. Mo, you and I have gone back. You make fun of me when I would talk about Luka. All of a sudden now it takes a trade and him to go to
No,
LA.
I didn't make
And
fun of you for what you said about him. I made fun of you for saying it every day.
yeah, I mean, well, Mo, it's really hard. It's really hard. It's really hard when you watch the game and you want to see these players excel. You want to see it. It's not I'm not like saying anything that's like that people haven't seen before. It's just utilize these players in the way in which they will help themselves first of all and help the team. So, it's good for JJ. Let's see. Luka, you know what I'm impressed about with Luka? Luka has bought in on the other end, right? You
Exactly.
heard me say this. When your best players give the effort, just give the effort. Defense is about effort and energy. Hey, everyone can't be a great defensive player. Everyone can't be a great offensive player. But you can give the effort necessary. That's all you ask. And then you work around that. So the thing that's been most impressive about Luka thus far is that he's given the effort necessary on the defensive end.
Yeah,
No one's ever questioned what he could do on the offensive end. This is Luka doing Luka things. However,
and Luca said,
yeah.
after the game, he said that he doesn't feel like he's had a good game for the Lakers yet. So the best is still yet to come. Shout out to Luca as well. It's his birthday today. Happy birthday to Mr. Doncic. I know he ain't listening, but happy birthday to Luca.
He's listening. He's
Nah,
listening.
I
Yeah,
know
he's
Luca a little bit. He don't want to hear it if it's not in Slovenian or Serbian or Spanish. He ain't trying
well,
to hear
that's
the English.
okay. But you know what? It's one thing. It's one thing about a great player. They can block out the noise, and he's listening because we've been consistent in what we've said because we want to see him. But we want this young man right here. What is he? 26 now.
Yep.
Luca has the capability to achieve in this league individually the MVP.
Yeah.
He is an MVP level
He,
talent.
he's already
Okay.
a Hall of Fame player, and he's only 26.
Okay. Okay. But he has the capability to be the most valuable player in this league. No doubt about it. Okay. The only thing that's holding him back from doing that is Luca. That's the only thing. Okay. The second, he also has the capability to lead and be the best player on a team that wins a championship. And the only person that's holding him back from that is Luca. And we are rooting for Luca. So he understands that when he's ready, those things will happen for him. That's a realistic goal for him in his career. Yeah, individually, yeah, he'll be Hall of Fame. Why? Well, he'll be Hall of Fame just because he'll go out there and play enough games and score enough points.
Oh, he's
However,
he's already Hall of Fame because of his resume, even outside of the NBA.
yeah, but what are people going to really remember you for? They're going to remember you for winning championships. Luca is a championship caliber player. That's what it is. So give meaning to your career and give meaning to your why. Give meaning to it, right? Okay, there's been a lot of players that have gone in the Hall of Fame. But you know what gives you meaning is when you win and when you win a championship. So while you're young, while you're here, and while you're at the peak of your game, go for it. Like
Mhm.
he is that good of a player. So we've been consistent in saying that we've recognized his talent, and hopefully he continues to have the consistent level of energy that he's displayed thus far in his short time here in LA. And he'll continue to get better at that because it's just about giving consistent effort. You know, you're not asking him to do anything outside of who he is, but when you're consistent in doing that, the sky's the limit for this young man.
Yeah, and another thing you said a lot on this show is you can't be relying on a 40-year-old LeBron James to be your best player. Now the Lakers are in a position where LeBron doesn't have to be their best player. And you're seeing as more games progress, it's Luka's team now. And credit to LeBron because he's turned himself into a 46% catch and shoot three-point shooter. He's making cuts off the ball. I saw a beautiful play. It was a Luka Vanderbilt pick and roll, hits Vanderbilt in the short roll, who throws the lob to LeBron cutting from the weak side corner. Absolutely amazing stuff. And I feel like adding Luka to this team, if LeBron wants to, just increases his
Well,
longevity because now he's not relied upon to do everything because Luka gives such a bigger
I want to
offensive
say this.
contribution.
I want to say this, right? And I'm very careful when they say whose team it is, right? And, well, this is his team, that team. You know what? I don't buy in that. Very rarely do you see a player that has the capability to be what I've termed and many others have termed a standalone player. A standalone player means it doesn't matter. That's a rare occurrence that you see a player that can do that and just doesn't matter who he's playing with, where he's playing, or how he's playing. He's clearly the best player. Okay. What I have seen since Luka has arrived in LA is the following. JJ Redick deserves credit with this. The version of LeBron James, because at one point of his career, LeBron James was a standalone player. Okay, not very. It's very rare that you see a player. It didn't matter who LeBron was playing with; he was going to be LeBron. Didn't matter first quarter, second quarter. He was just that good. At this version of LeBron James, this is where JJ Redick deserves some credit, with especially playing with Luka. He's staggering how they play. Depending on who's playing, they are able to play off of each other when they play together. And then he staggers the minutes, meaning Luka has a chance to be Luka individually during the course of a game. LeBron has an opportunity to be LeBron during the course of the game. And LeBron at this stage can't carry a game for 48 minutes like he once could. That's the key idea here. But there are minutes within the game. Some nights it may be 35, 40 minutes. Some nights it may be a 48-minute game. He's still capable, but he can't consistently do that for 48 minutes like he once could, night in and night out, year in and year out. The beautiful thing about LeBron James now is that you see it for stretches during the game because there's another player that he's playing with that can consistently do that he hasn't had in quite some time. AD showed it to you, but he did it in a different way because AD was he was a defensive player. AD was capable on the defensive end of doing
Mhm.
that. What's very noticeable here is that Luka does it on the offensive end and alleviates, if you will, LeBron James of some of the duties of things that we're used to seeing from LeBron James. For instance, like initiating the offense. For instance, passing the ball and getting other people involved. For instance, he can score the ball and they're utilizing him in an operating area. He's going to the post. Think of this, Mo.
Mhm.
So now LeBron James can actually pick and choose according to how he feels. I said this years ago. You can check me. Give me what you got, LeBron, and then let us figure it out. That's what JJ has done. Just give me what you got. So last night, Luka, they utilized Luka, and LeBron just kind of picks and chooses where he's going to go. He'll shoot some threes. He'll get out in transition. He'll leak out on long shots. He'll play a little one-on-one. He'll play with the second unit. He'll play with the first unit. He'll take a back seat during some courses if Luka has it going. The kid, Austin Reeves, now looks like a viable third option. He's kind of figured his way. And then LeBron just picks and chooses. So that, to me, has been the biggest change. And then you'll see LeBron he just kind of floats during the course of the game to figure out what's needed. And I think that's good for LeBron because now you're not depending on him every night to score 30 and win or score 35 and win. They have another player now that's capable of carrying the load. LeBron James right now is in a space where he's probably really comfortable right now because when you play against him, I would imagine most teams, and I haven't confirmed this yet because I'm going to give them, my rule, Mo. I always give teams about 20 games. But after about 15 to 20 games, I'm going to start calling around the league and asking, how are you defending the Lakers? And it will be interesting to see this. Are they saying Luka is the first option or LeBron? I would imagine that Luka is the primary. Think about that. A LeBron James team, and he's not the first, option on the defensive stop list for the other opposing teams. I think that's a really unique situation for LeBron. Okay? It kind of reminds me of Dwayne Wade when he was playing with LeBron. Okay, Dwayne Wade, a Hall of Fame player, a champion, da 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 da, who suddenly now you weren't putting together your team defense versus Dwayne Wade. Think about that. That's a significant advantage. At the height of Shaq's career, the late Kobe Bryant wasn't the primary offensive player because you had to deal with Shaq first. So to me, this is a very unique opportunity for LeBron James because he's playing probably for the first time in his career, which we should note, and we should probably take a look at this, Mo. He's not being double teamed. Think about that. Because Luka is going to carry the double team. So that to me is fascinating. I haven't confirmed it yet. I'm watching it, but LeBron is playing with an immense amount of freedom right now. And he looks like he's having a little fun.
He's getting easier baskets than he ever has as a Laker.
Now, Mo, that to me is what you're seeing. I can't help but watch the strategy of the game. So let's be on the lookout for that because that would be a fascinating turn of events for LeBron James to not have to play against a double team because Luka is the primary focus of the opposing team's defense. Now, that is a game changer for the Lakers, if in fact that's the case. It's too early to say that, but think about that, Mo. If that is the case, now we're saying they got something. And now, okay, and that is what Luka can bring because if once he starts shooting somewhere close to 50%, Luka, if he keeps getting 20 shots a night and all of a sudden he goes from, I think he made like 6 or 7 last night or something. If he's able to get 10 or 12, now, Mo, that's a game changer because now LeBron is just basically running in the lanes one-on-one coverage. And that, Mo, has the potential to really be a problem if that is the case for the rest of the league. If the rest of the league can't figure that. I can't say they can't figure it out, but they have to say that's what they're going to pick to choose. I can't let Luka go do Luka things and I'll just live with LeBron. Think about that. I'm just going to live with LeBron, but I'm going to choose not to let Luka go
crazy.
Berserk.
It's crazy.
So that to me, Mo, is how sophisticated what we're watching here. And again, it was another opportunity. I'm seeing LeBron James play with a little bit too much freedom for me if I'm defending against a LeBron James team, because that's a game changer. That's a game changer for his career if that is the case.
Well, shout out to Paul Malcolm. That was a positive episode. No negativity. I will not mention.
We didn't get any questions. I
will not mention the Lakers having 20 extra free throws or the refs ejecting Anthony Edwards for doing nothing. I will not mention any of that at all. I will not mention the fact that you can't breathe near Austin Reeves without him getting called for some free throws. So we're going to keep it positive today. No, we'll get to the questions next week, B. We'll get to the questions next week. We'll wrap it up with this. But there is a bonus episode coming out tomorrow with Jake Rogel, the director of Court of Gold. If you guys have not watched that on the Netflix, that's your homework for this weekend to go watch that documentary. You can hear some insights into the behind the scenes of how that documentary was filmed. So stay locked in because that'll be out tomorrow. And BJ and I will be back on Monday alongside Mr. Scott Perry to break down the weekend's action from the NBA. BJ, you guys got another game this weekend?
We have another game, Mo. 9 a.m.
Still undefeated.
First thing, we are chucking along, but we like I tell the team, let's just be present. and let's see what the game brings. But however, we've been very successful in the 4 quarters that we play every week.
We're all here rooting for you. We're all here rooting for you. I
Thank
wish
you
you the
very
best of
much.
luck. Best of luck to you and the team. And to our listeners, have a great weekend. And we'll see you tomorrow. And then we'll see you on Monday. And until then, subscribe to the show, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and get buckets.